Sure it's on. Okay, cool. Hello, friends and viewers. This is Esvardal, and welcome to a brand new game development live stream. Okay, cool. Everything's working well. This week, I'm going to be working once again on Sara the Shieldmage. Um, I want to go ahead and start off by showing you guys what I've done over the past week, like usual. Go ahead and get the game up and running. One of the first things you'll probably notice I did was I got the spell GUI up here in the top right corner of the screen. I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to say like what key it's bound to in like sort of a shorthand way. This being a PC game, that's going to be a little bit harder to do because there's quite a few keys on the average keyboard, so it's not like I can just make a couple of little GUI elements and stick them in the corner here. No, I have to think about how I'm going to do that, and that's something I'm designing. But getting things positioned, but pretty much all these GUI elements I can position relative to any edge of the screen. So that's just a small improvement. Something else, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but you can see this animated cursor. Pretty much what's going on with that. The effect ghost in my test was just not working out very well. So I went ahead and changed that to be a cursor icon instead. It's had a much warmer reaction from the people who tried out my game. Another thing I fixed too is this text box. Not only can I safely use the interact key, whatever I've bound to get that to happen, if I keep on using the interact key, it won't reopen. Okay. There we go. And something... Was that my headphones? Okay. No worries. Yeah, other than that, a lot has stayed the same. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I really want to show off for that. I'm actually just about done with this test level right here. Oh yeah, I added some breakable blocks. I haven't yet created a skin for those. I'm planning to do that maybe next week because I want to keep on working on Sarah's melee attack, and I'll rig her melee up attack so that it can break breakable blocks. In the game, she's not going to be the character that you can use to break breakables. So there you go. Let's see, go ahead and just checking my chat. I just started broadcasting, so I expect people will be along shortly, but no worries. Right, so on today's dev stream, what I'm going to be doing, I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more 3D work. One of the things that, if at all possible, I want to do is make a 3D version of these crystals. Even though people like the 2D version, it sort of breaks what I'm going with in terms of my visual design. See, the way I sort of justify things is anything that's a 2D sprite is something that you would interact with in the game world. Anything that is just background is 3D. That's sort of the linchpin of my style. And the problem is these crystals break it because they're a sprite and not a 3D image. So it sort of gives the player the wrong impression. So naturally, I want to do something about that. But more to the point, I've also done just about everything I can do, I think, with this sort of platformer puzzle map right here. I don't really want to add enemies to this. The point of this map isn't for enemies. It's to get the player to learn how to use summon block and their jumps effectively. This isn't a combat map. and that's something that's very important to me. So what I'm probably going to do is today we're actually going to start a brand new map. It's going to be Shade Grove, which is going to be sort of a forest level, and it's where I'm going to start really developing the combat system for the game. This map right here has been really good for prototype purposes and getting some of the most basic systems. But like I said, we've outgrown this. Right, so let's get started. I'm starting off with a 3D crystal. Now, I've done this actually before on a prototype that has never seen the light of day. Let me go ahead and save this. So, oh, yeah, Sara the Shieldmage. There we go. It's going to call this crystals.blend. Now, you might think that I'm going to be doing like multiple files, like I might have a crystal 1 and a crystal 2. Well, actually, that's not the most efficient way to do things. It's actually a lot better of an idea to instead have a whole bunch of files in in a single file. A whole bunch of 3D models in a single file, I should say. My bad. I can speak, I promise. Oh yeah. Go. Okay, so yeah. So it's going to go on with this is this is going to be a hexagonal crystal spire. It's going to be just sort of the prototype for all of the crystal formations that are going to appear in this game. And I'm just going to take this one spire. This will be a formation, and then I'll create different variations on this. I don't need that hierarchy, and I don't need animations. There will not be any animations on a crystal. It's just a piece of background fluff. Go ahead and name this. That's something I frequently forget to do, is name my models, but well, I should. Okay. You see how chat's doing. Okay. No one's ready yet. That's cool though. Uh, cool. Alright, so this is going to be a very, very basic spire. Go ahead and give it another 0.8. Then I'll remove those doubles as well. Alright, and there we go. That is a single spire of a crystal. Nothing too terribly shocking about it. I could add, I probably need to go back and add some variations. Like, actually, that's not a bad idea. So let's see, G X U. go ahead and make this a little bit more irregular. It's not going to be a geometrically perfect crystal. It's going to be kind of jagged. I'm going to fold up the corners just a little bit. Top, top, top. See how chat's doing. Okay, no worries. Okay. There we go. That ought to be a nice, good crystal spire. So another thing I need to do is go ahead and actually create the material. That's going to be a little interesting. Okay. Go ahead and give it a slight specular. Let's get a quick render to see what I've got. Okay, not bad. Let's try this again. All right, there we go. Go ahead and make that a little bit sharper. There we go. And render again. Okay, there we go. I like the shape. I think we're onto something with that. Yeah. Let's lose the gloss. Quick render there. Cool. Probably want to drop the index of refraction a little bit. All right, there. That looks a lot more convincing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and create a texture for this thing too. Thinking what it's going to be is it's going to be a broken light texture, because pretty much what I'm going to do with this, is I'm going to make this thing just completely crazy and multicolored, and that's going to simulate um, the diffraction that goes on within a crystal, sort of how it breaks light up, sort of like that. Let's give it a quick render. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. That way there's just a little bit of there's a little bit of color peeking through it. I wonder what that would look like. Actually, that doesn't look half bad. I'm going to drop the color contribution a little bit more. All right, I think we're onto something there. Okay. This is getting into fine details, most of which probably won't be seen, but well, it's not really too much of a thing. Okay. Cool. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Right. Cool. There's a little bit of luminosity there. That's looking really good. Go ahead and drop this specular down a little bit as well. Crystals are crystals have strong specularity usually. Of course, this isn't going to matter in the final game because we're going to have. But what's going to happen is that this is just going to be a texture, and we're going to have a shader that's going to make it look a little bit more real. Go ahead and spare a little bit more bandwidth, or visual bandwidth, and go ahead and get another ray trace going on. There we go. You see how this looks. Bet it'll be nearly invisible. Yep, that's nearly invisible. It's not quite what I want. I'm trying to get the transparency just right, because that's what's going to sell this. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do, a little bit unusually for this sort of thing, let me see it. I'm going to go ahead and have 3 light sources. Oh, no. There we go. Good system. All right. There we go. With 3 light sources, that looks a lot better. Let me go ahead and have a far light source over here. Let's try that. Oh yeah, that's a convincing crystal. That's a very convincing crystal. There we go. Go ahead and strengthen the contribution from this little texture. So we get a little bit more of a light breaking effect going on. But I don't think it needs to be hard. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, but that looks better. That looks much better. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. Pretty much what I need to do is prep this for light mapping. Actually, not light mapping. Prepping it for UV unwrapping, my bad. Cool. Actually, I had a change of heart. Instead of having like a bunch of crystal models, I'm going to make all my crystal clusters from just this one spire. It's going to be kind of awesome. If I need to add more, I can, but there's no guarantee I need to add more. Hey there, Vengeance Divine. How's it going? All right, so drop that. I've decided I'm not going to use the 3D shield. I'm going to keep that baked into her sprite. Okay. Let's see what we've got now. Not bad. Not bad at all. The cool thing is I can shade these however I want. So we're going to make a blue one. We're going to make a gold one. We're going to make a red one. All right. So let's see what we got here. 7, 0, 0. Let's see how big this is comparison to everything else. Okay, so it's looking like it's jutting out about I want to say 4 tiles. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. First, I'm going to do that. Okay. So yeah, you can sort of see how that superimposes there. Yeah. So we got a crystal spire. So now I need some crystal formations. Go ahead and create another one with 2 crystals. I think I'll do is I'll rotate it a little bit off to the right there. Actually, do something more like this. Give that one. Then I'll scale this one down. Stick it out like that. And then last but not least, I'm going to make a triple crystal cluster. Dang it. That's going to make things more interesting. Okay. That's cool though, actually. I can work with that. Or maybe not. Oh well. That's something else I can iron out as necessary. Back to making that triple crystal cluster. There we go. So I'm going to make one of these spires come towards the camera. And keep another of these spires, and it's going to be slightly back. So the third one's our upright guy. Let's go ahead and make this one 2, 5. This one's going to be more like 0.2 even. Okay, so there we go. Last but not least, there we go. Now this is where everything is going to sort of come together. It's not a mesh. Let's see how these look in game. Sort of superimposing the actual crystals, but that's alright. So let's say, oh, that's only going to run it as startup. Let me try this again. Okay, so this third one right here is going to be a gold crystal. There you go. It's kind of glowy. Ow. But yeah, there we go. Got crystals. Got 3D crystals too. What I'm probably going to do offline is in that one file, I'm going to make sort of a composite model along each of these lines, and I will update these crystal cluster prefabs to use the correct model. And I'll take off the mesh combiner on them. And that's going to lead to some pretty crystals, I think. Let's see how chat's doing. Hey there, Sara 444. Yeah. All right. think we're on to some. Oh yeah, something else cool I can do with the crystals. Do, do, do. Where'd it go? There it went. Yeah, something else I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna properly center each of these as well. So okay, I just doubled the size of that crystal formation. That's a big crystal. Look at that. But it actually looks convincing as a crystal too. More convincing than these, even though it's actually pretty close to the same shader. Yeah, I'll mess with that. I think I'm onto something with that. Let me go ahead and put these squarely under our doodads. Oh, how did I have everything selected? Okay. All right. And I'll go ahead and mess with that on my time. Right, so that's enough for the first section, but that's not all I wanted to do today. I actually wanted to break ground on a brand new level in the game. Pretty much what I'm thinking is it's going to be like a forest level, but I'm going to use this level sort of as the prototype where I go ahead and start testing the combat system of the game. I want to make sure that melee attacks properly work. I want to make spell effects that actually interact with enemies in some form of way. So I'm going to go ahead and start a brand new scene. First, I need a player character. Alright, so that should be all of the main business objects there. Go ahead and give this thing a name too. And for grins and giggles, I've just went ahead and chose a generic ominous forest name. It's going to be the Shade Grove. Why is it the Shade Grove as opposed to anything else? Because I am not feeling very creative right now. Let me see. So that's all of those things. Oh yeah, I need a camera. That's sort of important. Alright. There we go. Alright, so first things first, I'm gonna actually use a little trick I picked up in the hero's journey, where I'm going to tint the background to make up for the fact that I'm going to be that I'm not going to be fleshing out the level as thoroughly as I could be. What's going to happen is there's going to be grass and dirt blocks. There's going to be some trees, but they're going to extend all along the top of the screen here. And pretty much what the green background is supposed to do is sort of imply that there's light shining through leaves. That way I don't have to model, or if not model, at least place every single tree in this forest level. With that said, go ahead and actually Go ahead and start creating the skeleton of the level. Let me see how chat's doing too. All right. So far, doesn't look like y'all have a whole lot to say about this, but that's all right. I'm just showing how I start off a level right now, so no worries. And soil mill. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. I need to actually create. Need to actually set up the lighting as well. It's going to be 60, 160, 60. There also needs to be a ambient light. That's actually a little bit too strong. There we go. See what we've got now. Okay, that looks somewhat believable. I can work with that. Let's see what we got. I've got my default music there. Whee! Okay, enough of that. So that's the basics. Now I need to actually start doing some proper development. Now, sort of the way I like to do level design is I like to start from the. I like to solve my level design sort of the way that one would solve a jigsaw puzzle. I like to start from the edges and work my way in. So what I'm going to go ahead and start with, actually, let me go ahead and extend this about 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and start this about right here. I'm going to go ahead and create this wall. Now this might look a little bit out of place if I'm starting from an end, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna hit about right here, and there's going to be a trigger that halts camera movement. So you keep on running, but instead of seeing what you're seeing right here, oh, and by the way, I didn't properly add a collider to this. Collider. There we go. You start over. Instead of seeing the character running against a wall, what's going to happen is you'll walk into the camera trigger, and then there will be a nested trigger right here that when the player walks into, stops their movement and starts loading up the world map or whatever we choose to do next. Actually, let me go ahead and do that. I need to add that anyhow. Bet that's going to be in my RPG framework. Yeah. That's for the top-down setup. Where did I put that? There's no way I could possibly have made that a one-off. System, map control, map GUI controller. Um, that's not a thing. Oh, okay, one thing I know I can do, instead of having you having to listen to that, to the castle music, let me try something else. Oh yeah, that's something else I wanted to show off. I did some composing earlier this week too. So yeah, some slightly different music instead. I'm not actually intending to use that music for a forest level, but what the hey. I'm more concerned with where those triggers went, because I sort of need those. Screw it, I'm opening the old scene. I need to see what I did. Game objects, pickups, camera free. Darn. Okay, so I might have actually done that to myself. But it's alright, because I just solved it. Actually, that's pretty perfect. I could not have placed that better. So yeah, there you go. And instead of seeing her hitting the wall over here, which is too big for her to jump on, can't even summon a block to get over it because you can't get your cursor over that far. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start laying blocks here. Now, unlike the cave level where I could get away with having like a black background and I could only get away with creating like the outline of the cave in the background. In a forest level, this is up in the overworld. It makes a little bit more sense if there is actually a ground beneath you. So I have to provide at least that illusion for the sake of people understanding what the heck is going on. I'm not planning to make this a super duper complex level. There was another level in my last game which was actually sort of similar to this, and all it had was a heart rune that you had to have a certain skill to get to. It was sort of a taunty little level because it's one of the first secret locations that you could find in that game. Now the difference is with this game, I'm actually going to signify where the map secrets are. I'm not going to hide them from you. But they'll be optional locations. They won't be like tied to plot events or anything like that. Apparently, my mom does not get the concept of broadcasting. That's okay. see. Do-do. It's a little bit unequal, actually. See triggers. Okay, so that's symmetrical. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot to this. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use this area right here in the middle to actually put enemies. That way I could create just a very base. I can start by creating just a very basic AI that will rebound off walls and sort of patrol, or will patrol between 2 points that I tell it to. Um, and then I can start designing more complex enemies from that. Actually, tell you what, I've got another idea too. It's a little bit lazy, I know. Wait a second, did I just clone the player character each of those times? Wow, I did. I actually did that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe I did that. Oh. All right, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some trees in the background. I'm probably going to have some trees sort of obstructing like the foreground. Like I'll probably have one like sort of right here. And that'll be telling the player that, you know, when you cross this tree, you're about to go off the map. So yeah, that's sort of a very basic setup there. What I could do is I could open up Blender again and actually start making some trees. That might be a little bit on the fun side. I don't know if I want to do that though. Actually, let me check chat. Let me see how you guys are doing. Hey there, Rice Warrior 21. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not running multiple monitors yet. I'm actually going to be buying a computer for my birthday, and it's going to be a lot stronger. That way, I can stream other things than just game development. I've wanted to get back into speedrunning. It's been a while since I did my last Dragon Warrior 1 speedrun, and it's a good game. So yeah, tell you what, crystals are good. Go ahead and start a new file. I need to make a tree. Actually, I'm going to do this very similarly to how I did the crystal. Three. That ought to be good. Go. Oh yeah, and I keep forgetting I need to actually name my objects. So this is going to be the trunk. Probably another thing I need to do is actually set the vertices to be smoothly shaded. because this is an organic object, so can't quite get away with making it look horrible. Okay, so no. Right. So that's going to make a good it's going to make a good foundation for a trunk of the tree. Much like with the crystals, I need to go ahead and add a little bit of variance. Probably going to go ahead and do something ridiculous like make that one a little thinner. Offset that. Offset that a little bit. Oh, it's not entirely straight. It looks like it's actually grown because, well, it's supposed to be a tree. I mean, I am a programmer, but you know, y'all should expect more from me than mere programmer art. Okay. I'm going to use these faces down here to create like the roots of the trunk. But I'm not going to be really detailing the roots of the trunk. I'm pretty much most of the tree is going to be up here. Okay. So I also need to go ahead then. I need to create another. Might seem weird. Why are you creating another cube? But well, I'm doing this in sort of a two-piece setup. I create the trunk first, then I create the top of the tree, and then I bring it all together. Okay. Top. Thinking about how I want to do this. Oh yeah, need to make this actually smooth as well. Not too bad. I'll have to do some work on it to get the texture to look right. Should be serviceable enough. Looks a little bit more like a dagger to me. You could see like someone in prison like shivving someone with this tree. Like, Yofu, watch out for my tree. Smack. Rice Warrior 21. Why did I decide to have a 3D background instead of a 2D background? It's just how I roll, bro. It's sort of my style. Um, yeah, I really enjoy games where you have a 3D background. I really enjoy 2D sprite art at the same time, though. I feel like sprites are capable of conveying a whole bunch of emotion, and it's something that, yeah, you could say that 3D characters convey emotion more realistically, but I don't know. I don't buy that. I think part of the reason you have the old games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI that are so well loved is because, the person playing it sort of they have to emotionally invest themselves in what's going on with the character, provided the story is well written, which in both of those cases it is, definitely. But I mean, you see more modern games like The Last of Us, and they've they've certainly been working on getting around like the uncanny valley problem, but I don't know, just it might be a symptom of some of the writing that's going on with that, but it doesn't convey the same, I guess, the same aesthetic, because it sort of goes beyond merely the writing. It's what's going on with everything else in the game world. So yeah, I do it because I like to do it that way, and I feel it provides a little bit more effect for the players. So that's what's going on with 3D backgrounds instead of 2D. All right, so let me actually go ahead and get this going for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and make a material for the canopy. It's going to be generically green. I'm gonna make a material for the trunk. Um, it's going to be generically brown because bark can be brown. It's really specular, which I don't care for. Um, Go ahead and do that. It's now one gigantic. It's one gigantic object now. I'm gonna probably. I'm actually gonna go back and texture this thing later. Okay. It occurred to me I'm gonna be marking a lot of seams. It's all right. Mm. Still think it looks a little bit like a shiv. Maybe it'll grow on me. Although maybe I'll wind up actually adding more geometry to this. That's what I think it needs more. Oh, we'll get there when we get there. All right. It's a tree. How bad could it possibly be? Oh wait, I missed a spot. Um, yeah, environment lighting ought to work. Okay. Yeah, so that's what it looks like rendered. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now it looks less like a shiv and more like a popsicle. Let's see what chat thinks. Oh, not too much, but that's all right. All right, let's get this thing in the game. Oh. Go ahead and actually save that. All right. Yep. So there we go. Nope. I'm guessing it didn't pick up the texture. In fact, I'm going to assume it didn't pick up the texture. No. I was correct. It didn't pick up the texture. All right. Go. Let's see what it looks like. Just made me think that's gonna be an issue right there. Yeah, as trees go, though, it's not too bad. Certainly had worse trees in the hero's journey. Go ahead and put a few more of these in the scene. And not all of them are going to be staying the size or the rotation they're currently at. See how this looks. Looks kind of simplistic. Which isn't too bad, actually. I mean, there we go. So I think I need to go ahead at this point and allocate some space for them. Oh, that's right. They all use more than one. That's cool. I can go ahead and start scaling these up a little bit. See, we're gonna have a really big tree right there. Actually, you know what? 0.25, 1. It's gonna be a little bit more slender of a tree. Not like Slender Man. That's a little bit different. Have this tree be a little bit gonna make that tree a little bit bigger. This is gonna be a younger tree. This is actually something I really like about level design is you can sort of create your own story in your mind while you're building your level of what's going on with it. You know, just for grins and giggles, I'm gonna put a similarly aged tree right behind that one. There you go. Put a tree like that right there. There we go. Did actually have some of these trees going a little bit further into the ground or whatnot. Alright, so not bad. Definitely looks better than the trees in my last game. And I did these in a few minutes on camera, so yeah. I could do some other things, but yeah, I think that's a fair start. I'll need to go ahead and add more trees to the left over there because that's looking not very lifelike. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great little arena to start creating enemies in and start working on the melee attack, which I'm doing. It's a... yeah. This needs work. But yeah. Let me see what chat thinks. So you got a King Coder there and Nymthora. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Yeah, actually it's 9:53, so I'm about to have to cut my stream short. Before I go for the night, is there anything you guys would like to see? I guess more importantly, did you find some of these level design walkthroughs a little bit? Did you find the level design walkthroughs helpful? It's probably a much better question. We'll go ahead and give it a few seconds while I'm messing with this. Unfortunately, Twitch chat is known for being somewhat delayed in its response sometimes. By the way, this is what I was talking about with like a tree that is in front, so I can just have that as like a visual clue that, you know, this is as far as the level goes. Let's see. Oh, alright. That's alright. Not a lot of activity tonight, but that's fine. I'm just about done with this stream, I think. Right. So next week, what I'm intending to do is go ahead and finish off getting the forest here set up, going ahead and getting maybe a couple different types of trees, some other just doodads created in the scene. And I'm going to go ahead and also try to get started on actually making some of the first AI enemies of the game. It's going to be a very simple enemy. I'm going to try to do as much of that on screen as I can for you guys. There's a lot of people who I know are interested in artificial intelligence, and that's something that I would like to show you guys because it's not really all that bad, especially not the way I did it in my last project. So yeah, I think this is definitely a good stopping point for the broadcast. I definitely want to thank everyone who has been watching. I really appreciate you guys. If this has been of help, please feel free to like and subscribe. That really helps. You can also check out my works on the Unity forums at forums.unity3d.com. I post weekly prototypes of this game so that, you know, people can try it and give opinions and stuff. You'll be able to see it for certain in the game design forums. So definitely, if you like what you're seeing here, feel free to check that out. As far as this broadcast, though, yeah, I think that's about it. Next week's going to be enemies and AI. I might do a Dragon Quest One speed run partway during the week. So if speed running is something that is of interest to you, you might want to keep an eye out for that because that could be really fun for you guys. So yeah, I really appreciate it. It's been a pretty good stream. Got some good stuff done. And I certainly hope I will see you guys at 8:30 p.m. on Sunday next week, because that's when I'm going to be doing my next game development live stream. I certainly thank each and every one of you guys who has been in the channel for watching, and I really appreciate it. Thanks again. Hope you've had a great weekend, and good night.